Hello, I'm Gary Miyakawa. I'm here to talk to you about the Polycom HDX Room Solutions. They're all centered around the Real Presence platform today, and we'd like to go through these with you and help you better understand what the HDX product line can do for you and your customers or clients. We have a number of slides that we'll go through today, and I hope you'll find them very informative and help you to understand what Polycom can do for you. The ultimate HD experience is something Polycom developed a few years ago. We've been expanding it over the last few years and have come up with a very, very good product line to provide video conferencing support in many environments. HD, as we all know, has taken off very quickly around the world. Polycom is a leader in that HD technology. One of the pieces that it uses in that leadership role is the ability to do H.264 high profile video conferencing. That capability, based on the H.264 high profile standard, allows us to actually do video calls at up to 50% less bandwidth than most vendors can do. We find the quality does not sacrifice in a typical business environment, and it works very well for almost all clients. We can do this up to 1080p, which is today currently the highest of the HD resolutions that are out there. Also in the HD realm, we do HD audio. HD audio allows you to have a much more round, fuller audio environment, much as you're hearing today. This is actually being all recorded from a Polycom HD call. That was the easiest way for me to put it together for you, and from there it's being transferred to a DVD, and you're most likely watching it either on DVD or from a webcast. The 22 kilohertz of audio that Polycom is able to reproduce on their HDX product line is some of the best in the industry. I personally think it is the best in the industry, but then I may be a little biased. Okay. Also, we have the ability to provide HD content. Now, what is content? Well, content is actually what you're looking at down there. That is my presentation. Oftentimes it's called H.239, and that's the standard space name for it. H.239 is a standard established by the ITU group for transmitting content or presentations. Oftentimes, though, nowadays we go beyond that and we actually send video across content also if we want to. Polycom years ago, with the help of a company that they purchased called PictureTel, developed People plus Content. People being me, the guy who's doing all the moving, and content being my presentation over here. Okay, People plus Content IP is a small program we'll talk about a little later, but it allows me to send my presentation to the video conferencing system through the IP network, whether it be wireless or wired, it doesn't matter, but it allows me to present without physically connecting any cable, assuming wireless, into a video conferencing system. Here's our Polycom HDX family of systems. Very realistic, high definition visual communications, some of the best in the industry today. I recently had the opportunity to go in and do a video call, a very high level video call for our president, Andy Miller, with a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is the CEO of DreamWorks. We did this call in front of our Team Polycom event a few weeks ago. Very well received. The call was just magnificent. The video quality was outstanding. Now, it was probably larger than what you'll typically be working with. Screen size for that event was 120 feet. Andy was on one side and Mr. Katzenberg was on the other side. We were able to put them up on the large screen in beautiful detail. The actual video call itself was 2 meg, and we ran something called 720p 60 frames per second in 720 HD. And I actually had people afterwards coming up to me, and I'm the gentleman who set up the call, asking if it was truly broadcast, because the latency was very minimal. The actual quality of the image, the quality of the audio was just unbelievably good, and that was just a 2 meg call. Of course, I had the advantage of being able to use high profile to give me even better capability at an intermediate bandwidth of 2 megabytes. The other thing that needs to be pointed out, that this call was also done over the public internet. So it is possible to do very good, high quality calls over the public internet. Interoperability is very important with video conferencing. We have to be able to connect to other people. What good is it if we can't? And we have to be able to connect to them very easily. That's one of the things the HDX product line has brought forward. Common capabilities and interoperabilities with video conference systems worldwide. Anyone who meets either the H320 or the H323 standards is very easy to communicate. Also, the newly being adopted standard of SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, is also one that we absolutely support across the board. Excellent communications and content sharing, as we're doing now. This is actually a video call, and I'm sharing my content with you so that you can see this content down here. I keep pointing because I know where it is on the screen. Video at up to 30 frames per second on the content. You have a number of options. When you buy from Polycom, you have the ability to do the desktop system, the HDX 4000 there on the left. That's the older system is the 4000. The new generation is the 4500. We'll talk about that in the next slide. Along with the family, we have a number of systems that have different input and output capabilities. The 6000 being the bottom of the line. Not saying it's bad by any means, but it's the beginning system, and it runs approximately $6,000 retail. Certainly working with your resellers, you can typically get a little better price, as you do with all things that are like this. The HDX 7000 has an additional input and an additional output for monitor. The 8000 is really the pretty much the top of the line for the general, not necessarily the people who are doing integrations. The people who are doing the integrations are going to typically go with the HDX 9000 because it has some enhancements to the connectivity that the integrators will typically use. Balanced audio, some additional inputs and outputs that they can make good use of. The vast majority of the people are running HDX 8000s. Fortunately, the 6000, 7000, 8000 have all exactly the same size platform. You actually have to look at the side of the box to determine which system you actually have, or look at the back panel. You can also recognize it there. The HDX 9000 goes typically designed to be in a 19-inch rack mount. Makes it a little easier to handle for those people putting it in a rack and in an integrated environment. Here we see the HDX 4500. It's a very natural high-definition video system. Looks very good. It is a little larger on the desk. It's about this size. Okay, would be excellent to sit on the back of a credenza or something for a customer or a executive. Looks very good there. Has excellent video quality, excellent audio quality, all built in. The black spaces on the side are actually the speaker systems themselves for the audio. Microphones are also built into that area. It has excellent pickup. One of the nice things about the 4500 is its ability to be used as your desktop screen. So you don't necessarily have to have a separate system for your video conferencing. You can use this for your desktop. Another feature of the 4500 is its ability to have a second monitor. The plugs there, all you have to do is plug in the cable. The feature's always available. Now typically what you would do with that is potentially have a second monitor, either a large screen on the wall, 42, 50, 60, 108 if you happen to have that, plasma on the wall, or potentially go to a projector. And that could be either mirroring what's on the screen so that many people in the room could see the conference, or it could also be the second monitor where the presentation is placed, or content as we're talking about today. Sharp graphics and content sharing is very easy with the 4500. Makes it easy for people to see what's going on. Very nice system. Some of the features that we have inside the whole HDX family include something called constant clarity. Constant clarity gives us the ability to assure the best video and audio quality given the line capabilities. Oftentimes going over the public internet we do see packet loss. That's just the nature of the nature of the public internet. And we have to handle that the best we can. Some vendors don't handle it very well. In the upper picture you will see where that vendor, that competitor happened to not handle it very well, and you can see the squares come up. Now you may have seen squares like that on your TV at home. Oftentimes, and the place I see it is in football games, when the gentleman pointing the antenna on the field to the wrong place, and you'll see the quarterback's picture become pixelated and little squares. Now those little blocks are called macro blocks. Macro blocks are actually the foundation that we build on to do all of our compressed video conferencing. Those macro blocks sometimes get lost in transmission. If they get lost, here on the upper picture you can see they just put a black square or a white square up in place of it. What we try to do is when we see that occurring, we try to come up with an approximation of what should have been there and just put it in and try to fuzzy it up so it doesn't look too bad. Oftentimes people can't even detect that there's been a packet loss. Some of us who have done video conferencing for years can easily recognize it, but the general public, they don't notice it at all. 1 to 2% packet loss, which in my book is still quite high, is easily handled by LPR, or lost packet recovery. We now have also adapted this into the audio world. So rather than getting the squeaks and the whirls and the underwater gurgling that you sometimes hear when you hear packet or see packet loss, we maintain excellent audio quality even with higher packet loss. That's a feature set within the HDX product line. Some other things that we're doing within the HDX to try to handle noise in the office, we do try to eliminate the keyboard noise, the clacking of somebody typing. As you can hear me doing here, you probably can hear that. I'm not actually on a keyboard here. You may well be able to hear that. But we can try to eliminate as much of that as we possibly can. Automatic gain control. This is a way that we can control the audio volume so that it stays fairly normal all the way through, so you're not constantly taking the remote control and sitting there and turning the volume up and turning the volume down depending on how loud or soft the speaker who is currently speaking is talking to people. Okay, so we try to normalize that. We try to make it very normal, the level. Okay, we also do echo cancellation. Many times in a room you may have a microphone and a speaker in the same room. Without this echo cancellation, that will create echo, and you won't hear it in your room. Okay, if you're creating echo, you won't hear it, but if the people at the other end will hear your echo. Okay, echo is always coming from the far end. Whoever you're speaking to, if you hear echo, it's their problem. They either have the microphone too close to the speakers, possibly the volume turned up too loud. There are a number of troubleshooting things that can be done to try to eliminate echo. Now, our echo cancellation is very good for a room 20 by 20 or maybe a room 20 by 40. But when you get into a large environment like a ballroom or something like that, a very large room, we may not be able to handle the echo situation there. There are other tools. One of them that Polycom sells is called the Sound Structure. It's able to handle larger rooms and echo issues in larger rooms. So if you are speccing out a system to go in a larger environment, you may wish to consider a sound structure to enhance the audio and control some of that echo that can be happening. One of the other features that HDX has built in is noise suppression. You can't hear it, but I can hear some HVAC noise in this room. I can hear it almost as a white noise in the background. One of the advantages of noise suppression is eliminating that noise. So you probably actually hear my voice better on this video call than you actually would if you were sitting in the room here with me,